Hey, let's break up. When I muttered to myself in the driver's seat, the eldest son's wife in the passenger seat turned around in surprise. Huh, Chochi's hair is wet with the rain and water is dripping down. Why is it so wet? I held the wheel and stared at the town wife. What does that mean? Her confused voice was somehow rising. My eyes went to her feet. Wet shoes, muddy heels, and the smell of an unfamiliar perfume that was somehow fragrant. I realized. Where was Chochi's wife in this rain, and who was she with? And at that time, I didn't realize that the answer would change my life greatly. My name is Chi. I am a 50-year-old housewife. I married my husband Ryuji for love and have been married for 30 years this year. We have one son. Our eldest son, Takuma. Ma has always been a gentle person and doesn't assert his opinions very much. To be honest, he is a kind child, but he is not very reliable. Takuma is now married and living with his wife, Na. Na is polite and well-behaved from the first time we met. Please take care of my mother. Thank you, Na. Please take care of Takuma. No, I'm still inexperienced, so I'd be happy if you could teach me a lot of things. When she greeted me cheerfully, I felt relieved that she had a good wife. However, after she got married, I started to take Seven to the station and pick him up almost every day. Why are you taking him to and from school every day? Takuma should do it. I think so too. But Takuma sleeps until the last minute in the morning and comes home late. It's the same as always. Na is also hard. At first, it was. But it seems like he's gotten used to it recently. Even during such conversations, I don't feel down somewhere. Na looked apologetic at first. Gradually, her attitude changed. Why did I drive Na to and from school? Because Na had planned to quit after getting married, but Takuma encouraged her to continue working, so she can live on my income alone, but if Na wants to work, I'll support her. Yes. If she wants to continue working, that's the best thing. Yes. But the commute is a bit tough, and I was a bit put off by Takuma's kind but somewhat human way of speaking. The only problem is Seven's workplace. She works at a company in the next city and commutes by train, but there is no transportation to the station. Before the marriage, she was driven by her parents' house, but after the marriage, Takuma said he would drive her. I'll drive her in the morning. I'll pick her up when I get home as much as possible. It really helps. But when it comes down to it, Takuma doesn't have time in the morning. He makes excuses that he has to work overtime at night, and doesn't do a proper funeral. It seems like Takuma-kun can't do it today either. Yes, there are few buses and taxis, so sometimes you can't make it in time, and taxis are expensive if you use them every day, so when I heard that, I just said, I'll take you there. Are you sure? I'm sorry. Thank you. Don't worry about it. We're in the same boat when we're in trouble. Na thanked me many times, looking apologetic. At first, I had no complaints about taking her to and from work, because I was worried about her. But I didn't expect it to continue for 8 years. Looking back, when we first got married, Na was certainly a good wife. She was always polite to me, her mother-in-law, and was very considerate. Thank you, Mom. I'm sorry for always taking care of you. I would say thank you every time I took her to and from work every day. But as the years went by, her attitude changed little by little. At first, she probably felt a strong sense of guilt, but it gradually became the norm. One day, when I was feeling a little unwell and was about to take a day off from the funeral, I was sorry. I have a slight fever today, so can you take a bus or a taxi? Taxis are expensive. When I heard that answer, I thought, I take it for granted that I should pick up and drop off this child. That's what happened. I talked to Taku. Hey, can't Na-san's son, Takuma, think a little more about it? But my mother does it, so it's not a big deal, right? I'm in trouble. Honestly, it's hard every day, and even Na-san has to be careful. But I sleep until the last minute in the morning, and I don't get home late because of overtime at night. I'm at a loss for words. It can't be helped. Is that why they're talking about living together? Is there no intention to do anything about Seven's trouble with commuting? Who was it that said I would take her home before we got married? And yet Na doesn't complain and relies on me. Or maybe she's become too used to relying on me in the first place. Was it because I spoiled her too much, or was it because Takuma was unreliable? The more I thought about it, the more I sighed. In the midst of all this, I began to feel a sense of incongruity. It was that Ryuji's home time had become late. He's been coming home late recently. He's been busy at work. My husband answered that casually, but it didn't really make sense. Ryuji has always been a hard worker, but he's never been this late before. And he's in a good mood even though he should be tired from work. It's tough. But he can't come home early like before. It can't be helped. He's in a position of responsibility. Something about this bothers me. And another thing that bothered me was Na's behavior. She's always waiting at the station. On days when Takuma is late because of overtime, Na has started to delay coming home for some reason. Takuma comes home late. Yes. She's lonely being alone. She's lonely, so she kills time at the station. Before, Seven would try to come home early and do housework. But now it seems like he has time to himself. What bothered me even more was the change in Seven's demeanor. Before, she used to wear plain and modest clothes, but recently she has started wearing bright colors more and her makeup has become a little more flashy. As a member of society, it's important to be on par with the headlines. He said that and laughed, but I got the impression that he was a little superior. Then one day, I saw him at the roundabout at the station. Na was walking happily with someone, and the back of the person looked somehow familiar. Surely, I had a doubt. Meanwhile, I wonder if Takuma has noticed the change in his wife. No, it's more likely that he hasn't noticed, considering his personality. He's always been insensitive and absent-minded. Nana, how are you? Oh, no, I'm fine. I can see the conversation ending there. He should have asked a little more. Takuma always ends the conversation there. Don't you think Na's been acting a little differently lately? Is that so? She seems busy, but maybe her job is difficult. I sighed inwardly. He probably won't think too deeply about how much his wife has changed. Na's attitude has clearly changed. And her husband Ryuji is also strange. I feel that this sense of incongruity is not just a misunderstanding. Shouldn't we check the identity of this strange discomfort? One day, while having tea with a friend, the topic of social media came up in a casual conversation. It seems that young people these days post anything on social media easily. Even if they don't use their real name, it is often possible to somehow tell who it belongs to from the photo or exchanges with acquaintances. I see. I wasn't very familiar with social media, but I was a little interested in whether it was so easy to find information. Then, Na suddenly came to mind. There has been something strange about her lately. She says she is busy at work, but there are changes in her makeup and clothes, and she comes home later. If she had posted something, I casually searched her social media and immediately found a familiar photo of Na's back. Also, a photo of latte art that seems to have been taken at her favorite cafe. Isn't this Nana? I opened her account timidly, and there were photos of meals and stylish cafes that were frequently uploaded. It was strange that she said she was busy at work, but there were photos of stylish lunches lined up in the daytime. I scrolled further, and a sweet comment exchange with a certain person caught my eye. Thank you for another wonderful time today. I can do my best because of you. When I checked the other person's account, the name written there was Ryuji. Is that a lie? I instinctively clutched my smartphone, husband Ryuji and wife 7. I felt like the two of them were shaking in front of my eyes. The next day, I casually visited Na. Where have you been late recently? 7's expression froze for a moment. But he quickly smiled and predicted nothing. I started going to the gym. I thought I haven't been exercising much lately. Yes, which gym? It's near my workplace. I stared at her face and Na slightly averted her eyes. That gesture convinced me. She's hiding something. I see. What's the gym like? Oh, there's that women's only area and it's well equipped with machines. The instructor was kind and easy to talk to. It was as if she was listing prepared answers. I didn't say anything more and just smiled quietly. This girl is lying. Meanwhile, I tried to talk to me and Ryuji casually. You've been coming home late recently. Is work hard? Oh, I've been working overtime a lot. You see, things are busy at this time of year. The words themselves were nothing out of the ordinary. However, contrary to what he said, Ryuji looked somehow superior. In the past, he used to watch TV and drink beer after coming home, but recently he never lets go of his smartphone and checks everything. Are you really at work? The words were on my tongue, but I held them back. I don't have any evidence yet, but both of them are strange. It's too unnatural to be a coincidence. At that time, Takuma came to me. Mom, 7's attitude has been cold lately. Cold? Yes. He used to talk normally, but recently, no matter what I say, he just ignores it, or he's a bit distracted. Na has obviously changed. Do you have any idea? Yes. But the other day, when I asked him if he wanted to go to the movies with me, he refused because he was tired from work. We used to go out together a lot. That's right. But recently, he has been going out a lot even on holidays and doesn't talk to me properly. I was beginning to be convinced. Then that night, Takuma casually checked the history of the family's shared computer and felt something was off. It's strange. The gym isn't near the office. I thought about what Takuma meant as I looked at the screen of my smartphone. The gym is quite far from the workplace. Would he go all the way there after work? Maybe it's somewhere completely different. It seems so. And when I looked at the records, he had been to the same place many times. I gasped. It matched the location of the cafe where Ryuji and Na were together that I saw a few days ago. This is no coincidence. Mom, what should I do? Takuma's voice was trembling. I don't want to believe it either. Let's get some solid evidence first. Okay. We decided to look into Seven and Ryuji's behavior, to make sure that this suspicion wasn't just a fantasy. For the next few days, I carefully observed Seven's behavior. I'm going to the gym again today. She said that as she left. However, his expression was somewhat dreary, and I felt something was off about the way he was trying to bridge the gap between words. What kind of place is a gym? Well, it's pretty spacious and has all the machines. It also has a women's only area, so it's safe. He spoke fluently, but he didn't look me in the eye. Wow, that's nice. Where is it? It's near my workplace. So it's perfect for after work. I see. Good luck. I made a movie, and Na smiled back with relief and left the front door. But a cold sense of discomfort spread in my chest. Are you really going to the gym? After a while, I got out of my car and followed Seven. I watched carefully from a little distance. But it wasn't the gym that Na was heading for. She got off in the opposite direction from the station, in a well-developed residential area. A small restaurant in a residential area. She said it was a restaurant. I quietly stopped the car and turned off the engine. Seven looked around warily, and slowly walked into the store. There was a small sign at the entrance of the restaurant, and it seemed to be a private space that required reservations. Who is he with in a place like this? I carefully watched the situation from inside the car. After a while, I saw Seven sitting in a seat by the window. Then, a few minutes later, someone arrived. Who was it? Perhaps because of the lighting in the restaurant, the interior of the restaurant was dim through the glass, and I couldn't see the other person's face clearly. However, the two of them were having a friendly conversation, and there was a somewhat famous atmosphere. Eventually, the other person took out his smartphone and showed Na something. Na smiled and looked at the screen happily. And the next moment, I saw the other person gently touch Na's hand. Wow, my whole body trembled. This was not a mistake. Na clearly seemed to have a special relationship with this person. However, from here, I couldn't tell who the other person was. I felt like I had seen their gestures before, but I was not sure. Maybe, no, it couldn't be. Doubts grew in my head. Unable to bear it, I left the place. How should I explain this scene to my son who knew nothing about it? When I got home, Takuma was waiting for me in the living room. "How was it, Mom?" I answered quietly to my son, who looked at me with a worried look. "Nana didn't tell the gym." He looked up in surprise. I guess he still hadn't caught up with the fact that his wife had lied. She met someone at a small restaurant in a residential area. But I couldn't see the other person's face well. "Who was it?" "I don't know. But she seemed very friendly." His expression froze in an instant. "Na lied about going to the gym." "That's what happens." I was vague. It would be too cruel to tell him everything. But I have to tell him the truth. Takuma bit his lip, unable to believe who Na was. "Let's get some more solid evidence." "Yes. I'll check the GPS history of my 7th smartphone." He took out his smartphone with trembling hands and started looking something up. We started to find out the truth. To make sure this suspicion wasn't just a passing thought. One day, I decided to ask a detective to investigate. I couldn't help but suspect Na's actions. He says he goes to the gym, but he's actually going somewhere else. He's definitely meeting someone, but I don't know who it is. Nothing can be done if it's left vague. With that in mind, I went to a detective agency. I gave him detailed photos of Na and her daily patterns of behavior, and asked them to investigate for a few days. The destination, time, and people she may be in frequent contact with. The detective carefully listened to me and decided on the direction of the investigation. "I want evidence. Something solid." The detective quietly nodded to those words. I completed the procedures and left the detective agency. All that's left is what Na is doing. All that's left is to find out the facts. About a few weeks after the investigation began, the detective reported. I thought Seven was going to the station, but he stopped at a cafe on the way. It seemed like he was meeting someone there. Who was it? The answer was revealed a few minutes later. Ryuji appeared in front of her. "You're kidding me?" I clutched the photo in my hand and my heart leapt. I didn't think it was possible. But when the evidence was actually presented in front of me like this, it was hard to accept reality. A husband and wife are having a secret meeting. And it wasn't just a conversation. The photo shows the two of them smiling and talking. Yuji lightly touching number 7. The distance between the two of them is abnormally close. And the most decisive thing is that after the two of them left the cafe, they disappeared in the direction of the accommodation. I took the photo quickly, feeling my hands shaking. I had to leave evidence for sure. My head was a mess with anger, sadness, and despair. How did it end up like this? Since when did we become like this? Had I been deceived all this time? The more I thought about it, the more my vision became blurred and I felt like I was suffocating. But I still didn't have the courage to show Taku the clear evidence. How should I tell my son this fact? Well, that day, I held the photo to my chest and quietly returned home. One day, Takuma came home from work early, which was unusual for him. "Mom, I have some free time today. So I'm going to pick up Na," but the moment I heard those words, Nana's shaking face came to mind. She would definitely be upset. I was sure of that. At the same time I answered, Takuma took out his smartphone and started calling 7. Hello. I finished work early. I'll come and pick you up. You're coming to pick me up? Oh, but today's fine. I'm meeting a friend. As expected, her voice was clearly rising. Where are your friends? At the cafe in front of the station. I mentally psychic myself as I listened to the conversation over the phone. The cafe in front of the station. It was the place where Na and Ryuji had been intimate just a few days ago. That's the excuse again. Which friends? Well, her answer was obviously unnatural. There was a blatant pause, as if searching for the words. I think I'll say hello too. I'll be right there. No, it's fine. We'll be splitting up soon. It's a level of similarity that can't be hidden anymore. Takuma next to me frowned, staring at his smartphone and thinking deeply. Hey, Takuma, who is that friend? That's right. The next moment, he took out his smartphone and checked the social media of Na's friends in this relationship. But there were no posts there. Normally, if she was meeting someone in this relationship, there would be some photos or posts on social media, but there was no record of anything that day. What do you think? Mom, I'm going to check Seven's GPS history. I watched his movements in silence. If there was nothing, that would be the best. But considering the reality I've seen, there can't be nothing. Takuma opened Seven's smartphone settings and began to check the history of information. And his face turned paler and paler. This is strange. Where were you? I asked him in fear, and he pointed to the screen with trembling fingers. It wasn't the cafe in front of the station. Nana was not in the station where her workplace was, but in this area. The place he pointed to. It was the area near the accommodation where I had received a report from the detective. As expected, I took a deep breath and closed my eyes. All the pieces were now clearly connected. Nana had gone to another place, saying it was the gym. And while she said she was meeting her friends, she was actually spending time with someone else. The answer to who it is clear. I looked at Takuma gently, remembering the photo taken by the detective. His hands were trembling as he clutched his smartphone. I wanted to believe in me. Takuma muttered in a husky voice, and it was so painful that I gently placed my hand on his shoulder. I have to decide what to do from now on. Mom, what should I do? His voice was trembling. First, let's get some solid evidence. Stay calm before getting emotional. Evidence. He glared at the screen of his smartphone again. Mom, I'll investigate a little more. Nana's behavior. Look more closely. That would be good. Don't rush, be careful. I had already saved the photo data I received from the detective on my smartphone. While wondering whether I should show it to Takuma, I realized that the time to confront him with the facts was approaching. This is no longer a suspicion. It's reality. We decided to proceed with preparations to expose the truth of this betrayal. I can't continue pretending I don't know anything. And I made a decision. The day came when I had to confront them about Na and Ryuji's relationship. One day, after getting the evidence, Na suddenly came home crying. Her eyes were all drooling as she spoke, even letting out a sigh. Takuma is cheating on me. The whole family was shocked and quiet. I opened my eyes wide, and Takuma gasped and stared. What are you talking about? He was walking with a woman I didn't know the other day. He was talking so intimately, I couldn't believe it. Na continued to speak while shedding tears. He looked like a wounded victim. But at that moment, I felt something was wrong. Why was Na suddenly making such a fuss? Seven's attitude had been unnatural recently. The sudden accusation at night, when we had begun to suspect her actions. And AKA was acting as if she was also a victim. And what felt strange most of all was that Ryu always spoke up about it. I see, Takuma. You have to be honest with me. Ryuji calmly speaks to his son as if he were a man of integrity. This man lectures his son. The pieces have clearly connected in my mind. The two of them have made a decision. I gripped the smartphone in my hand tightly. If I were to argue here without any evidence, I would be swept away by Seven's weapon, Navita, and Takuma would be made into a villain. I needed conclusive evidence to turn this situation around. I took a deep breath and spoke in a calm voice. That's right. That's right. So what should I do now? Hearing this, Ryuji folded his arms and sighed as if he was convinced. Devil, do you have a name? I was even more convinced by his tone, as if he was a judge. It's not just Seven who is trying to dominate this situation. Ryuji is also trying to frame Takuma so that he doesn't fall under suspicion. I have no choice but to get the evidence. Yes, it's me who will uncover the whole truth. Above all, I needed to carefully collect evidence to save Takuma from this meaningless false accusation. If he doesn't do anything, Takuma will be labeled as a cheater by Seven and Ryuji's schemes and will be in a stronger position as a hurt victim. I can never forgive that. Mister, do you think your lie won't be exposed? I smiled in my heart. The next day, I sorted my mind and decided to talk to Na again. I carefully chose my words while thinking back on the events of the night. Please tell me the details. Seemed a little surprised that I was surprisingly calm. She wasn't crying and getting emotional like yesterday, but rather seemed to be waiting to see what would happen. But she started talking right away. I saw it when I went shopping the other day. I felt my heart skip a beat when I saw Takuma walking arm in arm with a woman I didn't know. Anger welled up, but then it subsided. It was exactly the same scene I saw a few days ago. However, the man was not Takuma, but Ryuji. I changed my expression and nodded slowly. Right. That was a shock. But nah, I spoke in a deliberately slow tone. I feel the atmosphere change. What kind of woman was that stranger you mentioned? Nana's movements stopped for a moment. What was she wearing? What was her hairstyle? That was her voice, oozing with impatience. She desperately tries to answer but no words come out. She's lying after all. My counterattack has just begun. One day, a sudden guerrilla attack occurred. The sky suddenly darkened and rain began to fall like a bucket being overturned. A rumbling sound echoed in the distance, and I watched the sweet grains pounding violently from the living room window. At that moment, my smartphone rang. I was surprised to see a message from 7. I want you to come to the station to pick me up. I started the car without saying anything. When we arrived at the station, Na got in without an umbrella and was soaking wet. When she got into the passenger seat, she smiled and breathed. I'm always sorry. It was so hard when it started raining suddenly. At that moment, I felt a strong sense of incongruity. There was a solid roof on the road from the station to the car. But why is 7's hair soaking wet? His clothes are also completely wet, and it's hard to believe he was just having a nice night at the station. It's as if he's been outside somewhere, and has been in the rain for a while. I looked at 7 quietly while holding the wheel. Hey, if we part ways, huh? For a moment, Na's smile froze. She must have noticed that my gaze was directed at her wet hair. She hurriedly brushed her hair away with her fingers and gave a fake smile. What are you talking about? Na was somewhat restless, frequently checking her smartphone. She seemed worried about something, but I didn't dare ask anything. After a while, another person got in. Ryuji, soaking wet. Oh, what a lot of rain. I was working outside for a bit. At that moment, I felt a chill run through my whole body. For some reason, Na and Ryuji were both wet in the same way. Could it be that they were together in this rain? I looked at Na in silence. Na also looked away and awkwardly fainted. Well, let's go outside and see where the client is and the station, and there's a roof over it. So why are you so wet? Nana's face turns white all at once. Yuji was also frantically searching for words. I just happened to be outside. And then the rain started to fall. So Nana was also outside the station at the same time? The rain was still falling outside the window. Their wet hair, their damp clothes, none of that seemed like a mere coincidence. I slowly took out my smartphone. I thought there was no evidence. I operated the screen and showed them a photo. It was a photo of Na and Ryuji walking side by side, taken by a detective. And they were heading towards a night town. Na's hands were shaking, and Ryuji was speechless. I'm tired of hearing your excuses. No, that's not true. This one's not wrong. Because there's another one. I opened another photo and showed a photo of Na and Ryuji talking intimately in front of a certain facility. No, well, this is, if you have something to say, please go ahead. The two of them just looked at each other in silence. That's it. I slowly got up and turned my back on them. Get out of this house. Na in front of me looked at me with an expression of disbelief. I guess I never thought I would be told such words. Both of you. I can't watch your betrayal anymore. You thought I hadn't noticed until now. You're so naive. Broke down in tears, and Yuji stood there without saying anything. But it was too late. I had seen through everything. At this moment, I made up my mind to end our relationship. The next day, I presented them with divorce papers through my lawyer. There was no room for discussion anymore. Na and Ryuji's betrayal was an unshakable fact, with evidence. There was no need to listen to any more meaningless excuses. I set up a meeting with the lawyer, but Yuji continued to be displeased with the balance, and Seven looked somewhat defiant. If you have something to say, please go ahead. Yuji bit his lip bitterly at my calm question. How could this happen? I didn't mean to do this either. An excuse that Kiku couldn't bear any longer. As the lawyer proceeded with the procedure for Tsutomu, I stared at the two of them. People who were once supposed to be family now hate each other more than strangers. That's enough. I'll sign it. I'm still in the discussion. It's already been decided. I'm not going to show any mercy to your betrayal. After saying that quietly, Na looked down with a despairing look on her face. I don't know where this information leaked from in the SNS era. Before I knew it, rumors that the husband had cheated with his son's wife had spread throughout Ryuji's company. Ryuji had been trusted to a certain extent at the company until now, but with this glance he completely lost all trust. Whispers were flying around the hallways and break rooms. The attitudes of his superiors and colleagues also became colder, and his opinions were no longer listened to properly in meetings. Eventually, it seemed that the decision was made to move to a rural viewpoint in the form of a left line. It was still too easy to say that it was his own fault that something like that happened, but Dana was put on divorce trial. Takuma never forgave Na for her betrayal. I can't do this with you anymore. Wait. I don't want to end it so easily. Seven tried to deny the divorce, but since there was evidence of the infidelity, Sada was overwhelmingly in Takuma's favor. Furthermore, the rumors on SNS spread to Seven's workplace. The woman who cheated with a gift. The story of the affair gradually spread, and the female employees at the workplace began to look at him with a bright gaze. Thus, Seven became isolated even in the car. Eventually, she was forced to quit her job. Still, the two of them did not support each other, and just continued to blame each other. You invited her, didn't you? It wasn't her father who was persistent. The two of them knew each other even before the court. They blamed each other, and in the end they were completely isolated. Both of them lost their trust, food, and family. Ryuji was transferred to a rural area where no one knew anyone. Seven returned to his parents' home after his divorce, but his family was disappointed in him, and he ended up living a small, lonely life. After that, Takuma and I started a new life. Freed from those muddy days, quiet and peaceful times began to flow. After the divorce settlement with Na, Takuma took a break from work for a while and spent his days reflecting on himself. At first he was depressed, but as the days passed he started to look forward and search for a new path. Thank you, Mom. I'll take a good look at myself. His expression was different from his former unreliability, and he had a bright look as if he had gotten over it. A few months later, Takuma decided to change jobs and met a trustworthy woman at his new workplace. Mom, I think I'll try to trust people again. I'm truly happy that Takuma has started walking again. And I myself have finally been able to have time for myself. I can read books, go to my favorite places, and enjoy my free time. Mister, why don't you go on a trip next time? That's right. Maybe I'll go. Somewhere far away. I vowed to myself to make up for the 8 years of wasted time I had lost. Looking up at the blue sky, I stepped into a new future.